Hi, I'm Jake from TradeLab.ai. This is the advanced setup tutorial for DaviddTech strategies in TradeLab. Here we're going to be discussing how to trade multiple symbols, and we're also going to be discussing how to set up two DaviddTech strategies and attach them to a single symbol. So a couple things. In the last video, we've already set up a long and a short template. If you haven't watched the last video, it'll show you how to do that. In this video, I'm going to duplicate these so that we can trade Ethereum as well. So we're going to go up to the three dots and hit clone, and hit yes. This will clone the strategy for us. And the reason that I'm cloning it instead of setting it up like we did in the last video is because this will save our trade amounts and our leverage and any settings that we changed. So all we got to do is come in here and change our name and change our symbol. And I just changed the name and added ETH to it so it's easy for me to find. You can do whatever you want. You'll notice that it didn't pop up the strategy setup, and that's because we've already set up the strategy and we just copied it. So we still need to set up our alerts because last time we set up alerts for Gala, and this time we're doing Ethereum. So we're going to need to go to the alert instructions right here, and it'll pop up the same thing that we saw last time, the 5 steps, and we're going to want to set up our messages the same way that we did. Now let's go to TradingView, because here's where it gets a little tricky. The thing is that we already set up a Gala ultimate scalper, and now we want to do an ultimate scalper for Ethereum. But if I come in here and edit these settings and make it Ethereum based, it will ruin the Gala alerts that we already set up. So this is where a lot of people get tripped up because you end up inadvertently changing what you already set up. So what we need to do is we need to create a new ultimate scalper so that this one can be for Ethereum. So we're going to go into David and find Ultimate Scalper again. Click on this, and I'm using the free one just for accessibility. But you'll want to find the paid one that you have, 2.0, I think. And then we're going to go into the settings, and we're going to set this up the same way that we did for Gala. So we'll start copying our messages. And the thing about it here is that if you have multiple symbols, you can see in this message right here, we have the symbol set as Ethereum. And so that's why we need these multiple ultimate scalpers, or the multiple copies of David's strategies, because they each need to have the right symbol. This will also allow you to have different settings for all of your take profits and stuff as well. It would be nice if we could have this be a variable. And actually, I've talked to David about that, and he's implementing that soon. So soon this will be a variable, and we won't necessarily have to do this. However, even showing how to duplicate these is important because sometimes you do want to have multiple different settings for things. And a lot of people will overwrite the settings and then be like, oh no, my alerts aren't functioning right. And that's because you need multiple of these. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you have a whole bunch of these, it's going to be hard to do the next step. So I'm going to click OK, and we'll see what I'm saying here in a second. Then the very last step, as we know, is creating the TV alert. And we just need to create a blank message and set up the webhook, right? So first thing is we need to be absolutely sure that we're on our correct symbol. So let's select Ethereum, and then let's make sure that we are on our correct time frame. Okay. Now that we have our time frame, the thing is if I come in to create our alert and I look at our condition, we're supposed to select our ultimate scalper, but now there's 2 of them. And if we add 10 symbols, they can get really confusing as to which one it is. And there's no way to rename them, unfortunately. So what we can do, though, is we can remove our Gala one. Now, this isn't going to destroy it. This isn't going to make the Gala alerts not work, but this is going to remove it from where we were, and we'll only have one. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to get this back as far as the settings wise once you remove it. So like edit the settings for the alert, you would probably have to rebuild the settings and then make a new alert and delete the old alert. What you could also do is go up to this manage chart layouts. And if you create a new layout, you could create a new layout for every symbol or for a batch of symbols. And these are saved per layout, right? So so I could, let's just do that. So let's go over to a new chart layout. Okay, and that's going to open up a new window. So now this is unnamed, and we're going to rename this to ETH. Okay, so now that we have our ETH, now I still have my Gala right here, and it's still there. But now I can come over to indicators again, and I can search for David, find my ultimate scalper, and now here's my ultimate scalper, and I can make this for Ethereum, which we already did. I'm not going to show it again, but if you go through and copy that through, that will set it up for Ethereum, and now we have that separate on the Ethereum chart. I can change this over to Ethereum. So now we have Ethereum 1 hour. This is set up. So now we go to create our alert. We go to condition, and we only have one ultimate scalper, right? And so now that's a great way to sort of manage these multiple things by using these chart layouts. So if I want to load a new one, I would hit load, and I can go back to where I was. I can load any of the symbols that I need to. Okay, so that's how we set this up. We're going to set up our alert as we were doing. So we'll go back into here and get the webhook, set up the webhook, make sure that we do order fills only, and then we can clear out our message, and we can also set our name. So for this one, the name, you might want to edit it and change it to say ETH or something like that, just so you know which one is which. And then you hit create. And actually, I say that, but it's going to also show you the symbol right here. So you could also have them all be named the same, I guess. But at any rate, there we are. We have the DaviddTech. It moved on me. There's the DaviddTech alert there. And now that that's set up, we will press back and hit all done. So now we have all that set up. We have our alert set up for Ethereum, and we can hit save and exit. Of course, we can go over to our variables and change our take amounts if we need to do that. But then once we're done with that, we can hit save and exit. And now we have our DaviddTech long for Ethereum. So just like last time, we can duplicate the short, and this one's going to be way quicker because all we have to do is duplicate the short and then come in here and rename it just like we did last time. But we don't have to set up the alerts this time. So it's going to be real simple. We just set up ETH here, and that's it. We'll go ahead and save and exit. You could, of course, change anything that you need to here. Change your take amounts if that changed. And then that's it. So we now have a DaviddTech long ETH and a DaviddTech short ETH, and we have duplicated our symbols. So you can do that for as many symbols as you want. You can run as many strategies as you want. Everything's unlimited right now. So have at it. So the next topic that we're going to go over is how this all changes when we want to use, say, the ultimate scalper and also a super trend strategy on the same symbol. If I wanted to use Ethereum for the super trend and then run the ultimate scalper on Gala, that's totally fine. Everything that we've sort of talked about up until this point, you can follow those instructions and use Super Trend for ETH and Ultimate Scalper for Gala, and it'll work just fine. No changes need to be made. If you want to use the Ultimate Scalper and Super Trend on, say, Ethereum, and use them both on Ethereum, then we're going to have to set up two different strategies, right? One for Super Trend and one for the Ultimate Scalper. And in this case, because we're trying to swing trade and we have a long and a short, we'll actually have four, right? We'll have two for one strategy and two for the other. So at that point, everything is pretty much the same. We can even actually go into here and clone these once more. So you could start from community strategies again, or you could clone these. Either way is totally fine. And here, what we're going to do is change a couple things before we set up our alerts. So what we want to do, if it asks you to set up your strategy, you can hit skip. Okay, and we'll do that here in a second. So in this one, I'm going to name this Super Trend. And for the Super Trend, we need to make sure that we are sending alerts that are different than what we are sending for the Ultimate Scalper. You see, if you send two different types of strategy alerts to the same symbol, they need to be different. Right now, I have it set up to be very general. So if we go over to the Variables tab, we can find long exit message and long entry message. So these messages are what sends when we send an alert. And right now, they just say DaviddTech long enter and DaviddTech long exit. And that is totally fine, again, if you're using only one strategy on a symbol. But as soon as you try to send multiple strategies to one symbol, we need to know which strategy it is. So to do that, I've made it pretty simple. All we have to do is go into here, and we want to keep the long and the exit, but we'll add something in here, or we could even remove the DaviddTech, and we could instead say Super Trend long exit, or we could make it long. We could say DaviddTech. It doesn't matter how long this is. So if we could say DaviddTech Super Trend long enter, right? I'm going to keep it kind of short, just to make it readable. But we're going to say that and Super Trend long enter, Super Trend long exit. So now we have our entry and exit alert messages separated from the messages we were using for our Ultimate Scalper strategy. These now say Super Trend long enter and exit, and now we can head over to our alerts tab and edit the alerts. So we have to make sure that our alert message that we're going to copy into has the correct Super Trend, in my case, has the correct message. So I'm going to make it say Super Trend and then hit save and hit save on all of these, make them all say Super Trend, each of them. So we're going to do the first four. Those are the important ones. This last one is going to be an empty message. So you can change it here too. It really doesn't matter, but it's going to be an empty message. So then we can go back over to edit. And now we can do the Super Trend setup. So if we go into alert instructions and once again go through this whole setup, we'll pick our Ethereum symbol, make sure we have our chart, and here we already have our Ultimate Scalper. So now what we want to do is add our Super Trend. So if I say David one more time and scroll down, there's a triple super trend in here that I'll use. So I'll just grab that and I'll hit the settings button. And once again, we can come in here and set up our alerts. So we'll go through there, set up all of our alerts, and I'm just going to pretend that I did that. And once that's done, we have that set up. We're going to create our alert again. So we'll go through triple super trend. We'll select order fills only. We'll make sure our webhook is correct. So we'll go into the TV alert and make sure we get our proper webhook. It's very important. And then we'll clear out the message and we'll name this super trend ETH. And we'll hit create. So now I have a DaviddTech super trend strategy running, as well as a DaviddTech ultimate scalper running, and they're both pointed to Ethereum. So I can press back, I can press done, and save and exit. Of course, you'll want to duplicate this again for the short rather. So we would go into here and duplicate this one more time, the ETH for short. And again, we don't have to set up any alerts or anything like that. So all we have to do is go to variables and make sure that we change our short exit message and short entry message to say super trend, like I did earlier, or whatever you put, of course, right? So now that that's done, we have covered setting up multiple different symbols. We've covered setting up multiple different DaviddTech strategies on the same symbol. And I think that's all you guys need to know. If you have any other questions, let me know over on the Discord. And follow and subscribe for more updates. Have a good night.